This is Plant-Based Briefing, Eggs from Rescued Hens, from Rooster Sanctuary at Danzig's Roost, posted at all-creatures.org. And I'm Marian Erickson, host of this curated content plant-based podcast, where I narrate a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living with permission in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. And I'm pleased to have permission from all creatures to share their content. So now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. Eggs from Rescued Hens, from Rooster Sanctuary at Danzig's Roost, posted at all-creatures.org. You might think that since a hen has been rescued from one situation or another, that it's okay to take her eggs and eat them. Modern-day hens that populate the intensive egg operation facility to the urban backyard have all been bred over centuries to lay a dangerously high quantity of eggs. Hens that used to live for 20 years in the wild, laying fewer than 20 eggs per year, are now living for only a couple of years, and they're laying almost double the amount of eggs in 2 years than their wild ancestors laid in their entire lifetimes. Who really needs those eggs? Who really needs those nutrients back? The hens do, and they know it. Laying such a high volume of eggs is not only exhausting for the hens, it also leads to calcium, protein, and amino acid deficiencies due to the intensive nutritional resources spent on creating the eggs. Here's what we do with their eggs. We crack them gently and give them back to the hens. The hens devour the eggs, shell and all, returning these vital nutrients back to their own bodies. Check this video out linked here to see how we do it. There's nothing natural about taking more and more from beings that have been so far removed from their ancestors that they can no longer live normal lives. High egg output from hens and egg consumption by humans is not good for them, and it's not good for us either. It's natural to eat eggs, right? No, it is not, and here's why. There are currently 296 million laying hens in the United States. Approximately this same number of male chicks were hatched into the egg production system and killed immediately after hatching. This means nearly 600 million egg-type birds will all die within their first 2 years of life within the egg production system. All chickens descend from wild jungle fowl, which lay up to 20 eggs per year in order to reproduce. This means our ancestors consumed eggs very rarely, and it came at a great price to the survival of another species and our own at the time. Modern-day hens lay around 250 eggs per year. This is 12.5 times more eggs than is natural for their bodies when compared to their wild ancestors. And we would need 3.7 billion ancestral hens to produce the amount of eggs that 296 million genetically altered hens produce in order to meet the public demand. Of these modern breeds, nearly 90% of hens that are allowed to live their full lives will develop reproductive cancers that will kill them. Combined with the people that consume the bodies of cancer-ridden birds and the earth that is swamped in animal feces and waste and polluted water from animal agriculture runoff, the effects of the chicken meat and egg industries are horrific. We've created a monster with these standard practices in animal agriculture: greed-based selective breeding, destroying unprofitable individuals such as male chicks and 2-year-old hens, confining genetically manipulated bodies to artificial environments in order to create affordable, unnecessary consumption of eggs, mutilating the faces of chicks by slicing off their beaks in order to prevent their natural reactions to peck in a stressful environment, and lack of veterinary care for sick and injured birds due to treatment being deemed not economically viable. Even if hens are kept in more open environments, such as a neighborhood farmer's home or a small hobby farm, these things will happen. All of the chicks hatched male will be killed at the hatchery. 90% of hens will develop painful reproductive illness, and most will go untreated. All of the parent birds used for breeding suffer cruel debeaking, confinement, and slaughter. And many of the hens who do not produce that highly unnatural amount of eggs will be slaughtered or dumped. The key point here is to be aware that no participation in the process of using the bodies of these birds is humane. It cannot be humane. It is impossible for it to be humane on any level because we've created cancer-ridden individuals that have no possible escape from the bodies we have forced them to live in. The way we can remove ourselves from this cycle of death and illness is to go vegan, and it's easy to do so. Being vegan is good for everyone, and it tastes good too. We have every resource at our fingertips in order to discover the kindest way to live. There is no reason to cause harm to these birds. It's completely and totally unnecessary to do what we are doing to them when we make the cruel choices almost all of us were raised to make. Below are some pictures of what is building up inside hens as their bodies begin to deteriorate. This is egg material that was unable to exit their bodies naturally and had to be removed surgically. Even when a hen is unable to lay an egg that her body has produced, she will continue to produce another egg right behind any unlaid eggs regardless. This process is ongoing until proper veterinary intervention is provided. Any hen with reproductive illness must be seen by a qualified veterinarian who is experienced in treating birds. You just listened to Eggs from Rescued Hens from Rooster Sanctuary at Danzig's Roost, posted at all-creatures.org, and I'm your host, Marian Erickson. And this is a great summary of why eating any eggs can never, ever, ever, ever be humane. And if you'd like to check out some related episodes, I'll link these in the show notes, but check out 878, In Ovo Sexing Does Not Make the Egg Industry Humane or Ethical, 582, What's Wrong with Humanely Raised Poultry and Eggs, 529, Empathy and Affection in Chickens, 278, Is it okay for sanctuaries to give hens' eggs to donors, and The Dilemma of Backyard Chicken Keeping, 232, Chicken Talk, The Language of Chickens, and 52, The Rescue of Kakuta and the Rooster Dilemma. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.